All right, we're gonna move on now to the key matchups. I can't believe it's been 32 minutes already, and we haven't even gotten through half the show. All right, here we go. Key matchups. I'm gonna start this one off, if you guys don't mind. I think for me, one of the key matchups that I'm really focusing on is whoever is going against the Dallas Cowboys slot corner, Anthony Brown. He's number 30. You'll probably hear his name a lot this week because Tom Brady targeted him 10 times last week, and he completed 9 of those 10 passes for 134 yards, 1 touchdown, and a passer rating of 152. So he's playing in the slot, which means he's going to see a lot of Keenan Allen this week, which is not going to be pretty. So if you have Keenan Allen, you're probably starting him in fantasy anyways. But do not even hesitate to start Keenan Allen this week because I think he's going to have a monster game again against the Cowboys. I loved seeing all of the memories of Keenan Allen's game against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. One of my favorite Chargers games of my life. So I think Keenan Allen's going to be doing something very similar this week.
Yeah, I'll go for my key matchup and say CeeDee Lamb versus Asante Samuel. I think that that's sort of going to be the matchup there because you're going to put Michael Davis on Amari Cooper. Obviously, they'll sort of rotate on the receivers, and I don't think it'll necessarily be a one-on-one. But because Michael Davis is going to be primarily handling Amari Cooper, I think that responsibility is going to fall to maybe a divvying up between Samuel and probably Chris Harris. And I do not trust Chris Harris to cover CeeDee Lamb. I'm sorry. That man is he's a bad man. And so, I think you just got to get Asante Samuel in there. He did have the PI last week, obviously, but other than that, okay. I don't disagree. But, he obviously played pretty well outside of that. And so I feel pretty confident, but also this is just a general step up in competition because, you're not going against De'Ami Browns and Adam Humphries. You're going against CeeDee Lamb. And I think this is going to be just a really tough matchup. And just the fact that Dallas can be, all of these weapons deep, it just makes, this one kind of the key matchup stop because I feel fairly confident in the idea of Michael Davis stopping Amari Cooper. Obviously, I think there will be times where he gets the better of him, but I don't think he'll necessarily blow by him for some 60-yard touchdown just because Michael Davis can keep up with his speed. So I think Asante, and if Dak starts to pick on him a little bit, maybe with CeeDee or with one of the other wide receivers, I think that could be sort of troubling. So I'm going to say Asante Samuel Jr. is sort of both the X factor and also the key matchup with CeeDee.
Yeah, as far as Davis and Cooper, even Jalen Ramsey gave up 7 catches on 8 targets to Cooper. He's going to do his best. I think he would be fine. He's definitely a guy that I think the Diggs and Davis, that matchup, I don't know if it's similar to Cooper and Davis, but it's kind of more like a route runner kind of guy versus like a phenom, like a prime Julio Jones sort of guy. So I feel good-ish about that matchup. But listen, as long as he makes a couple of plays, holds them to less than 100 yards, maybe not a touchdown, that's fine. But like you said, Asante Samuel Jr., that's definitely one to watch. So I know, Steven, you really liked CeeDee Lamb coming out of college. Obviously, you liked Asante Samuel Jr. as well.
Yes.
Listen, I watched freaking no Cowboys games. Just like all the Cowboys don't watch any Chargers games, apparently. And what was CeeDee Lamb's biggest calling card? And is that someone that Asante Samuel Jr. would match up well with, or is it going to be kind of a nightmare?
I think Asante will match up well with it because I think CeeDee's best attribute, in my opinion, is his physicality after the catch. Like he's not your typical yards after catch guy in the sense where he's just going to catch it and run past you, but he's just so strong at the point of attack where, he's going to, catch the ball, catch a slant and break a couple tackles and make a big play that way. So that's why I agree. I think they'll probably use Chris Harris on him a little bit, but Asante and even Derwin James to me is the better matchup because I'm not super worried about CeeDee Lamb kind of beating me deep. I'm more really worried about him, catching a slant, breaking a couple tackles, or catching a curl, breaking a couple tackles, catching a wheel route, a swing route. Like that's really how they use him. They use him as a yards after the catch guy just because he's so physical and physically gifted after the catch.
Yeah.
Right,
No,
and I would
thanks for
also
that.
just say, like,
Sorry.
I would also just say one example of that play, from last week was on that final drive when the Cowboys were trying to get in field goal range, right? And CeeDee Lamb breaks that huge catch that,
Yes.
he gets like into the 40-yard line in field goal range. Like, that's the kind of stuff he can do. Obviously, the Cowboys don't win the game because they leave too much time on the clock for Tom Brady, but that's just one of those ways he can change the game.
Yeah, nice. My key matchup is going to be the interior defensive line versus whatever combination of interior offensive linemen. Sounds like Martin is going to be playing right guard. So you have some combination of Zach Martin, Connor Williams, Tyler Biadasz, Connor McGovern. I don't know if Williams is going to play at all because he was the right guard. If they don't kick Martin out, then I guess Williams is not playing, which is odd. And I know you talked to Tuck about this, about having Quessenberry as a great backup, but not using him because they think he's only a center. And the coaches can be stubborn. But as far as Biadasz and McGovern go, they gave up 10 pressures on 69 snaps. Last week against the Bucks. And there's a couple storylines here. The obvious one being, I didn't realize this. I don't recall a drop off this significant, but Dak Prescott under pressure versus not under pressure this year. So not under pressure, passer rating of 113, under pressure, 68. Last year when not under pressure, 117, under pressure, 44.8. I don't recall a drop off by like the 50s and 60s in passer rating in pressure versus non-pressure. So getting pressure on these guys, because listen, Bosa is going to kill the right tackle. Whoever it is, he's going to kill him. But to me, like
but he's lazy though, Tyler. He's lazy.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. He's going to quit after the first 5 plays, especially if they run right at him. Kill me. The thing about, I guess the story then on the flip side of that is what, like we've kind of talked about this. What is this interior defensive line going to look like? I need Justin Jones to play a whole game. It sounds like he played great, but not for a whole game. Jerry Tillery played a whole game and he stunk. Please, I don't want to be right about Jerry Tillery not looking good. I don't want to be, the butthole who's like, oh yeah, seeing the phenomenal thing, it didn't really make any sense. Of course he's not phenomenal, but then if he goes out and puts up freaking pass rush win rate of 0, what am I supposed to do? But I don't want to be right about that. But here we are. And then Christian Covington was probably your best guy. Yeah, how much is he going to play? Banks apparently looked terrible and he didn't do anything in that game. What is he going to do? Are they going to call up Fehoko? The whole interior defensive line has been really, really strange what they've been doing with who they kept and then cut and then brought in and sitting some guys. And then, of course, the guys that they sat didn't play well. The guy like Covington that they let ball out in the preseason, who balled out in the preseason, was probably their best interior defensive lineman of the game. So what's going on? Because even just talking to the team source, it's like they don't know what's going on. They're as confused as we are about what happened with the interior defensive line room. So what is happening? So again, there are a lot of questions in that group that need to be answered. And then also they need to get after Dak Prescott because his passer rating stinks under pressure.
Yeah, just a couple of things. At least according to Jordan Tuck, McGovern is the backup interior offensive lineman. So it's going to be Connor Williams and Tyler Biadasz and then Zach Martin, it looks like. McGovern is kind of that swing guy who can play all 3 spots, but they don't really want to commit to him as a starter. I think they drafted Connor Williams, if I remember correctly, like early in the 2nd round a couple of years ago. So he is kind of that guy. For what it's worth, Brandon Thorne had him in his top 15 at left guards. So I think he gets compared to Zach Martin every single year, and that's just like not really fair because Zach Martin is like one of the best offensive linemen we've ever seen. So I think Williams is okay. But if the interior defensive line is going to have, a good game, like it's going to come against Biadasz and Williams because, nobody's getting past Zach Martin. Like, a lot of the interior guys had a tough time with Brandon Scherf last week, besides Justin Jones. And Zach Martin is way better than Brandon Scherf. So going to be tough sledding there.